Are you ready to do something good for your brain? I will show you why you should learn and practice mental math, and how to begin with the first basic techniques. First, a short test. You should be able to solve the following task in 1 or 2 seconds. 3 plus 4 equals 7. 14 minus 8 equals 6. 4 times 6 equals 24. 18 divided by 3 equals 6. You have solved everything correctly? Then you are ready for mental math. If you still want to practice a bit, you will find exercise sheets and a browser app to practice at math.avko.de. Why should you learn mental math? Mental math is a fitness program for your brain. It stimulates mathematical thinking. The better you are at mental math, the easier mathematics, especially algebra, will be for you. Mathematics is an essential part of or a prerequisite for many well-paying and sought-after professions. Mental math has a practical use. While others are rummaging for their smartphone and typing, you have already figured out the solution. In the book Mental Math Trains Your Brain, you can find examples of use. Finally, there are some amazingly simple math tricks with which you can show off. Why should you practice? You train your body to gain muscles. Your brain works the same, only that you increase the number of connections between your brain cells. You have to practice mental math in order to master the calculation strategies effectively. The more often you repeat the calculations, the better your brain will learn to recognize the patterns that are necessary to choose the optimal strategy. You need to constantly refresh your skills if you don't want to lose them. You should be able to do this: the addition and subtraction of numbers up to 20, the multiplication table up to 10, multiplication and division by 2, 5 and 10. I will give you some tips for these points in the video. For addition and subtraction, you focus on the calculation of the carries. Here's an example: 7 plus 5. You probably know the result without calculating. Otherwise, you proceed as follows. From 7 to 10 there are 3 missing. Subtract them from 5 and add the rest, the 2, to the 10, and you get the 12. The subtraction works similar. 14 minus 9. From 14 to 10 there are 4 missing. Subtract them from 9. The rest, the 5, you subtract from the 10. Or you turn the subtraction into an addition by adding up. From the 9 to the 10, 1 is missing. And then from the 10 to the 14, again 4. You add the 1 and the 4 and get the result 5. The multiplication table is the basis for all multiplication and division problems. If you no longer know it from school lessons, then you have to learn it again. While learning, you always say the task and the result. So 2 times 4 equals 8, 3 times 4 equals 12, 4 times 4 equals 16, and so on. In this way you link the task and the result in your brain. If this is too tedious for you, then memorize the following anchor points. 10 times the number. You just append a 0. Example, 10 times 4 equals 40. 5 times the number. That's equal to half of 10 times the number. Example, 5 times 4 equals 20. 2 times the number. Then there you just double the number. 4 plus 4 equals 8. With this you can calculate all other numbers by addition or subtraction. Example: 8 times 4 is equal to 10 times 4 minus 2 times 4. So you calculate 40 minus 8 equals 32. Or 6 times 4 is equal to 5 times 4 plus 4. So you calculate 20 plus 4 equals 24. The multiplication and division with 10 is so simple that I will mention it only for the sake of completeness. Examples for the multiplication: 123 times 10 equals 1230. 1.23 times 10 equals 12.3. You add a 0 to the original number, or you move the decimal point one place to the right. Examples for the division by 10. 3450 divided by 10 equals 345. 345 divided by 10 equals 34.5. You remove a 0 from the original number, or you move the decimal points one place to the left. Multiplication by 2 is equivalent to adding the number to itself. In the following example, first think about how you would calculate yourself. You can add the tens and ones digits separately. 40 plus 40 equals 80. 6 plus 6 equals 12. Then you add both sums. 80 plus 12 equals 92. Or you can proceed digit by digit. 4 plus 4 equals 8. 6 plus 6 equals 12. In this case, the ones digit overflows, and you have to add 1 to the 8 and keep the 2 as the ones digit. When dividing by 2, you halve the number. You can also proceed separately for tens and ones. 57 divided by 2. You calculate 50 divided by 2 equals 25. 7 divided by 2 equals 3.5. Then you add both results. Equals 28.5. Or you calculate digit by digit. 5 divided by 2 equals 2, remainder 1. Then you add the ones digit to the remainder. 17 divided by 2 equals 8, remainder 1. Remainder 1 divided by 2 equals 0.5. Then you put everything together, 2, 8.5, and get the result 28.5. For multiplication by 5, divide the number by 2 and then multiply by 10, or vice versa. Example: 46 times 5. 46 divided by 2 equals 23. 23 times 10 equals 230. Example for the reverse procedure: 33 times 5. 33 times 10 equals 330. 330 divided by 2 equals 165. If you multiply by 10 first, you avoid the decimal fraction for odd numbers. 33 divided by 2 would have been 16.5, for example. But try out for yourself which variant you prefer. For division by 5, divide the number by 10 and then take it times 2, or vice versa. Starting with the division by 10 is useful for numbers with a 0 at the end. Then you just have to remove the 0 and double the number. Example: 90 divided by 5. 90 divided by 10 is 9. 9 times 2 equals 18. If you do not want to calculate with a decimal point, you double otherwise first and then divide by 10. Example: 65 divided by 5. 65 times 2 equals 130. 130 divided by 10 equals 13. You belong to the small number of people who like to train their brain? Then have a look at math.avko.de. There you will find a link to my book, print out exercises, browser apps for a bit of fun, and other video tutorials.